Yes, viewers, let's move on. And now it's time to welcome on board Parthiv Jhonsa, Lead Analyst Metals and Mining at Anand Rathi Institutional Equities. Hi, Parthiv. Good morning. Good to be speaking with you. First of Parthiv, you have recently hosted an Analyst Day for Coal India. Help us understand what really stood out from the management commentary this time around. What are the triggers that you are penciling in when it comes to coal sector and specifically for Coal India as well?
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me. Yes, a couple of days back, we hosted the management of Coal India in Mumbai. A couple of key pointers which came out is number one, the management is confident on attaining the growth going forward, right? So this year around, they had done about 780 odd, a million ton kind of a production number, and next year target they have given at about say 875. Though this target might look tall, and even if you and thereafter, it's about close to crossing about 900, million ton. The target might look tall, but the management is quite confident on achieving through, dispatches to power sector, e-auctions, and, all the other ancillary modes, right? So the tone was very positive. They were quite confident on achieving the growth rate going forward.
Hi, morning. Nearly 85% of Coal India's production is sold to the power sector, right? And the CEA now estimates that nearly 80 gigawatt of thermal power plants are to come on stream by, say, FY 30 to 35. Will this really ensure enough demand for Coal India for at least for the next decade?
Let me put it across this way. As you rightly pointed out, till 2035, when these plants come in, right? These plants usually have a life of close to about 20, 25 odd years, and these are like supercritical, ultra supercritical plants. On an average, a plant of a gigawatt requires close to about 5 million ton. That's like a base case scenario, but these kind of plants would require close to about even 6 million ton. So even at a base case scenario with this 80 gigawatt, if it comes on time, it translates to close to about 400 million ton of an additional coal requirement. And till the time, I believe most of these plants will be fed in, the coal will be fed in from the indigenous sources, right? More than imported coal. So this basically translates to close to about over 400 million ton, at least only from these upcoming plants. There are other, existing facilities which require. If you see your FY25 data, your non-coking imports have actually gone down. So all these basically will keep your volume momentum going on. Apart from this, any stress assets also reviving, that would also add demand in the market.
Right. Parthiv, share of coal-based thermal in electricity generation in India is, I think, around 34 odd percent, right? Which is almost double than the global average, or rather, which is currently at 73%. But eventually, 7 to 8 years down the line, do you see share of coal-based thermal falling? And could that be a real threat then for Coal India?
See, over last decade, right? If you see, your installed capacity as a country, it's almost doubled. You already have reached about 1,830 billion units kind of electricity, unit consumption, right? Unit demand. So what has happened over last 10 years? Even when your installed capacity has almost doubled, the it's almost at about 475 gigawatt. The share of thermal has gone down as a percentage. However, when you talk about generation, coal is still hovering at about that level, plus minus 1 or 2%. So over last decade, when your RE has gone up, when your other other mode of installed capacity of power has gone up, but thermal has kept its hold on the market, right? I don't think that over next 10 years this is going to shift much. The demand for coal is there to stay for at least for the next decade. Till the time there are been issues, which you need to sort related to renewable energy, then the demand of coal will be there.
Coal India has ventured into new verticals from coal to chemicals to SNG to critical minerals. A couple of questions there. Firstly, how confident is the management about these new verticals, and will these verticals eventually generate substantial revenue of the total pie?
See, they have taken, let me put it across, a four-pronged approach to move from a pure play coal mining entity to Say one is coal to chemical, as you rightly pointed out. Then it's thermal, what they are putting thermal facilities. Then entering into these critical minerals and so on and so forth, right? So just to answer one by one, coal to chemical, they have already entered into three MOUs or so-called JVs with a total, as on date, the total capex outlay is close to about 36,000 odd crores, and which will eventually come on stream, right? One after the other. They have been talking about this from last quite a few years, and now things have started rolling, right? They have cleared off the JVs and everything. Now, when you talk about entering critical minerals, too early to comment right now because they are the first ones to actually win a block in India. So it's too preliminary to comment on the critical mineral side of the business. As far as they entering into RE or they entering into thermal power plants, they have been taking steps. They are entering RE because eventually even they have a net zero target to meet, right? So that is one of the reasons, and they will eventually be going to about 9 gigawatt of RE installed capacity, and then they'll also be putting thermal power plants. Thermal power plants is more like a natural progression for them. They are there in the material business, and this is like more of a natural progression. So I think these four verticals will give a better, visibility, maybe going post FY 27-28 when things actually start rolling. Uh, Things are going in the right direction. Management has ensured that things go in the right direction, but it's too preliminary to comment on these four verticals as on.
With this, we really appreciate you taking the time out and speaking with us, and thank you so much for joining us today. But
if you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.